Good morning, everyone. Nice to see you all again. Welcome to the live in-person and live Zoom worship of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Riverside. Thank you for joining us here in person, and thank you for joining us remotely by Zoom, where we will continue live streaming and posting these services on our YouTube channel for our virtual attendees. I'm Grace Preuss, a member of the worship committee, and I will be one of your worship associates today. Other members of the church that you will hear from today include Dinah Rowe, our church treasurer, and our music producer and coordinator, Alec Peck. We welcome you to join us this morning with an open heart and an open mind, and with muted electronic devices, please. If this is your first time here or your 101st time, we are glad you are here. This community is what it is because of your presence. So welcome into this space of love, support, justice, compassion, fellowship, and worship. We are glad you are here. Although our doors are open, the pandemic is not over. So while we're here, please keep your masks on and socially distance. We can speak in normal tones, but singing or chanting creates an increased risk of airborne exposure, so we ask you to refrain for the time being. We invite those of you in the sanctuary to sit back and enjoy listening to the hymns. For those of you at home, sing your hearts out. And now I invite you to sit back and take a slow, deep breath as we move into the worship hour. For our call to worship, you are welcome to read with me the mission statement of our church. Our mission is to foster a diverse religious community that celebrates life, affirms the individual, encourages spiritual growth and open thought, and works to advance social justice and environmental sustainability. Our speaker today is our member, Avery Burrows. Avery is born in Long Beach in 1951 and grew up in Seal Beach and Long Beach. He has traveled widely, is a student of earth-based traditions, and is deeply involved in social justice issues. Avery has been a longtime member of UUCR and volunteers his time as our groundskeeper, working with the homeless, maintaining our community garden, and serves in any capacity where he can assist. He has been a member of our Social and Environmental Justice Committee for over 10 years. Over the years, he has chaired our Maintenance Committee and Social Events Committee, and served as secretary of the Green Sanctuary Committee. Avery is currently a member of the board. Alec Peck and I will also be part of the presentation, and our member, Kate Lewicki, has contributed her photography on the slides. The natural world. What is the connection between our well-being and the natural world? In our increasingly technological world, what are some ways we can bring more of the natural world into our lives? We have two lightings of sacred flames. The first is the occupied Indigenous peoples' remembrance candle. The second is the lighting of our own chalice, the symbol of our faith. We walk upon the traditional territories of diverse and sovereign peoples, the original people of this land who continue to cry out for justice and self-determination. This spot we occupy was first a sacred space of several groups of California Indians, including the Cahuilla, the Cupeño, and the Serrano. We, the Universalist Unitarian Church of Riverside, light this sacred flame as the stewards of this sacred and holy place. We are blessed with a space and opportunity to strive to live out our common principles, to bring justice, equity, and compassion into our daily lives, to resist all that threatens the earth and her people, and to be part of a world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. Let these thoughts carry us forth as we journey and worship together. Today's reading of the chalice lighting There is Light by Eric Williams. In the beginning, there was light, infinite and expansive, flowing out from an unseen center. Throughout creation, there is light. From the steady sun, the glowing moon, the flashing meteor, the twinkling stars, and the auroras dancing in the northern skies. Within each part of creation, there is light, slowed down and held close by every cell and molecule, by each atom and element. Within you, there is light, the same light as the source, the same radiance that is in all creatures. May this small flame be a constant reminder to you of your true nature and your kinship with all beings. Thank you, Bill. Our opening hymn this morning is Morning Has Broken. For those of us in the sanctuary, let's sit back and enjoy the hymn.
Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning. Praise for them springing fresh from the word. Sweet the rains do fall, solid from heaven, like the first dew fall on the first grass. Praise for the sweetness of the wet garden, strong in completeness where God's feet pass. Mine is the sunlight, mine is the morning, born of the one light, evenings of play. Praise with elation, praise every morning, God's recreation of the new day.
Greeting our guests. We have a tradition here at UUCR to welcome those who are visitors or perhaps returning after some time away. We know it can be uncomfortable to stand up and speak in front of others, and so now I will ask for a volunteer from someone who has been here for a while to tell us your name and how you found out about our church. We ask you to hold the mic close to your face and speak into it directly and clearly so everyone can hear. Okay, and possibly be in the audience. Okay, is there a volunteer here who'd like to tell us how they found out about UUCR? Okay, you have a volunteer over here.
Hi, my name is Alec Peck. I currently serve with the worship committee, and I found this church when I moved out here to Riverside. I've been practicing UU for a long time, but this is one of the smallest churches that I've gotten to be a part of, and it's been really exciting. This is a very different flavor of UUism than I've ever really been exposed to. The first church that puts the Universalist before the Unitarian, and so that was new to me. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you, Alec. And that's how it's done. If you are new here or a visitor or an old friend, please raise your hand to stand and Bill will come around with the mic for each person. Any takers? Oh, back.
Oh, let's stand up and Hi to the congregation. My name is Joe Mira. I'm here for the first time as a visitor, so thank you.
Welcome, Joe.
Glad to have you here, Joe.
Could we ask him how he found out about our church?
Okay.
Simple, I grew up here.
Oh, did you? Wow, that's great. Welcome. If there's someone online who would like to introduce themselves, please raise your hand and we will call on you. Okay, so for our new guests, our visitors book is out in the parish hall. So please leave your name before you leave so that we know you are here and your contact information if you want to know more about upcoming services. For those online, the best way to get added to the mailing list is to email the church office at admin@uuchurchofriverside.org. There are a few announcements we would like to share with you today. During the service, we will mention several websites, email addresses, and phone numbers. At the end of the service, we will leave up a slide with all this information, and it is also available on our website. Chat time provides an opportunity to talk among ourselves and discuss the service leading on to other various topics. It's held on Zoom 20 minutes after the end of the service, so typically it would be around 11:30. To participate in person, join us back here in the sanctuary. And to participate online, you will need a separate Zoom link. So please go to our website at uuchurchofriverside.org for the Zoom chat time link on the main page. A few other events coming up. Pat's Pool Party, Potluck, and Drum Circle will be held next Sunday, starting at 4:30 with a potluck and swimming in Pat Cowander's backyard. At around 6:30, we will begin the drum circle. All are welcome. Pat's address can be found in the church directory or by contacting Pat directly. Secondly, the supper club will meet next weekend, the third Saturday of the month at 6:30 p.m. This month, we will meet at Farfalla's, an Italian restaurant in the Arlington area. All are invited to join us, but please RSVP to Pat Cawander to be included on the reservation. Also contact Pat if you have any suggestions for future restaurant choices. Now we'd like to invite Dinah Rowe up to the pulpit. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. The next hymn is Spirit of Light. Sorry, Dinah.
Good morning. This portion of our service is to support our beloved historical church. This can be accomplished in several ways. In addition to the weekly collection, you may send your checks to the church address, which will be shown. You may contribute by PayPal using the QR code, which is on the church website and also the weekly that goes out. Stater Brothers Market gives our church a rebate on Stater grocery cards, which we will have in the church each Sunday. And Robert also has those in the office during the week. You get the full value of the grocery card, and the church also receives a percentage. And I also have Amazon cards. Please donate as the Spirit moves you by whatever method works. Thank you for your generosity. And to those who give of their time and their talent, thank you for your generous care and attention. Will our ushers please come forward and receive our collection?
Thank you. Our next hymn is From You I Receive.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live.
Our meditation today is a thanksgiving for the elements. The strength of the earth is the stones, and the same is the source of our bones. The water flows across the ground and within our blood. The air blows around the world and brings us breath. The fire streams forth from the sun without ceasing and sustains our lives. By these elements, we are formed. By our voices, the beauty of the creation is sung. Now let us pause for a moment of silence. Now, I would like to introduce Avery Burrows, speaking to us on the natural world. Avery?
Good morning, a natural good morning. I'll be speaking about the natural world today. What does nature mean to you? The definition is unique to every individual. After many years of contemplating different faiths and traditions, I have come to define nature as the energy that is present in all living things and potentially in inert things. Before you on the altar are a few symbols of the natural world representing the four elements. And I'm not sure everyone can see from where you sit. So Grace will hold them up. A plant, symbol of the earth. A bundle of sage, also called a smudge stick, and incense, both to purify and enhance the air. A candle, symbolizing fire. An abalone shell, symbolizing water. Nature can be defined as a phenomena of the collective physical world, including plants, animals, and the landscape, as opposed to man-made creations. It has been said that matter and energy are interchangeable. They are different forms of the same thing. I am not an expert, so I would like to invite our resident physicist up to the stage to give us his take on this. Alec Peck.
Thank you for inviting me, Avery. Matter and energy. E equals mc squared. This is one of the most famous and well-recognized physics equations, but what does it mean? Fundamentally, it specifies exactly how mass and energy might be related, as Avery and in fact all quantum physicists believe. It says that matter in fact contains a tremendous amount of energy. The total energy in a piece of matter is its mass, m, multiplied by a large constant factor, the speed of light squared. And as you know, the speed of light is an incomprehensibly fast number, and the square of a big number is itself a very big number. If you manage to convert just 1 pound of garbage completely into usable energy, you could power an average American home for 6 years. Not only can mass and energy be exchanged, but I would actually describe mass as being a type of energy. Due to relativity, perceived mass might change based on your frame of reference, but there is an invariant mass that describes the amount of energy that a piece of matter has in the form of mass energy. One might say that this is the energy required simply to exist. In a way, this means that everything in the universe is made up of some form of energy. Now, mass energy only converts into other forms of energy under very unusual and extreme circumstances. Nuclear reactors, both fission and fusion types, convert just a small percentage of the mass of their fuel into energy, but even this is enough to potentially power humanity for millennia. Even though your personal matter will never convert some of its mass energy into other forms, it's still extremely important to understand the connection between matter and the other forms of energy that it carries. In your everyday life, you'll only interact with 4 forms of energy: the mass energy, which we've discussed, the energy of motion, the energy of radiation, which makes up things like light rays and the infrared glow, which most warm animals give off, and indeed some animals are able to see with their eyes, and the energy of location, which is sometimes messily called the potential energy, which I think is an unfortunate phrase. On a biological level, we use these different forms of energy, and the way that we use them take on many different forms: the chemical energy in our food, the force it takes to move our limbs, and the small electrical signals that move from our brain to those limbs to control that motion very precisely. All of life is about using energy to accomplish something. On the physics level, energy is what manipulates matter. But on the biological level, energy is how you manipulate matter. Complex life is a defiance of entropy, using energy to bring structure and meaning to matter. As in most things with life, energy is all about balance. In order for complex life to develop and thrive on Earth, living cells must receive and process energy at a very specifically balanced rate. You must burn calories fast enough to keep your muscles working, but not so fast that you burn out. We feel that we have direct control over how energy flows within our bodies. In a way, this is how we sort of define the boundary of ourselves. What part of the universe is part of us and which a part of it is not us is in some way defined by what we feel we have control over. Our physical bodies are marvelous machines with thousands of moving parts, and our bodies are pulled around with kinematic and potential energies completely beyond our control. But at the same time, we can shape the ebb and the flow of the energy, which is part of what we consider to be ourselves. Every action is a flowing river that pours energy from one place to another, and it is the motion of energy which creates action. The flow of energy is a physicist's definition of power. The energy that you and I use to conduct our lives has come from the earth around us, and it has been circulating in many forms, converted and transformed infinitely, and it will continue circulating much longer than we will personally be using it. All energy is created equal. It can always be continuously converted, and transformed. It cannot be inherently good or bad, just as with all natural things. Energy contains no memories, it holds no grudges, it keeps no preferences. The energy which makes up my thoughts and motions and mass is the same energy that makes up yours. And so if we truly understand the nature of ourselves, we must become aware of the energy within us. If we are to understand the nature of the world around us, we must become aware of the energy that flows between us.
Thank you, Alec. Nature can also be defined as a basic or innate qualities or character of something. Spirituality. I believe some qualities are inherent in all of us, namely love, the purest form of love, unconditional, selfless love in any circumstance. Right?
Radiate boundless love to the entire world.
Sensuality, sensuousness, perceptions we receive through our senses. Right?
James Baldwin says, to be sensual is to respect and rejoice in the force of life itself, and to be present in all that one does, from the effort of loving to the making of bread.
Empathy, compassion, the capacity to feel for others. Right?
Albert Einstein, no less, says, our task must be to free ourselves by widening our circle of compassion to embrace all living creatures and the whole of nature and beauty.
Quiet, peace, serenity, the state of being calm, still, and untroubled.
A Buddhist saying says, quiet the mind and the soul will speak.
Psychology. In this increasingly technical and artificial world, it is healing and restorative to actually go out and explore the natural world. Being in nature or even viewing scenes of nature can reduce anger, fear, and stress. Exposure to nature contributes to our physical well-being, reducing blood pressure, heart rate, tension, and stress. Who of us has not felt the relaxation of a warm day at the beach, gazed at the stars in the desert sky, or experienced the refreshment of a hike in the woods? Having a pet or being around animals also has a positive effect on physical and mental well-being. UUism projected. The natural world can also be incorporated in the values of our 7 principles: the inherent worth and dignity of every person and natural entity, justice, equity, and compassion in human and natural relations, acceptance of one another, and encouragement to spiritual thought in our congregations and in our relation to the natural world, the right of conscience and democratic practices within our congregations, the society at large, and in the natural world, the goal of world community and peace, liberty, and justice for all, including our planet. And of course, respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. Indigenous cultures have gained wisdom from nature and have a lot to teach us about respecting and holding the natural world as sacred. These elements existed long before we existed, and we are all temporary guests of this natural world. Grace.
As Chief Seattle once said, man did not weave the web of life. He is merely a strand in it. Whatever he does to the web, he does to himself.
In conclusion, I would like to encourage you to bring the gifts of the natural world into your life and take care of them as well as you can. Enjoy the mountains, beaches, forests, and rivers, grow gardens and trees, and feel the energy of nature in and around you. Blessed be.
Thank you, Avery, and everyone who participated in this presentation. Our closing hymn today is For the Beauty of the Earth. Those in sanctuary, please sit back, close your eyes, and listen quietly.
For the beauty of the earth, for the splendor of the skies, for the love which from our birth over and around us lies, source of all to thee we raise this a hymn of grateful praise, for the joy of here and I, for the heart
Our benediction today comes from the poet E. E. Cummings. I thank you, God, for most this amazing day, for the leaping greenly spirits of trees, and for the blue dream of sky, and for everything which is natural, which is infinite, which is yes. Namaste, amen, and blessed be. Thank you, Avery, for sharing your valuable time and insights with us this morning. It is sincerely appreciated, and we look forward to seeing you again. We usually have Q&A at this point. Do you have any questions for Avery regarding his talk?
Two, three. Okay. Slightly embarrassing fact. Two things. First one is there are times when, as a pagan, I look around and I see generally more evidence of destruction than growth, and despair forms of that feeling. Instead of feeling good and looking at nature, I feel bad because I see it going away. Second, what happens when the nature, how would you handle things if you found the nature that you were surrounded with to be unappealing? For example, a really ugly patch of land. That, okay, it is what it is and it is what it's supposed to be. But there are chunks of land that do not cause my heart to sing with joy. After all the years in this warm land, I'm still not necessarily a desert rat. I can appreciate it here and there, but not all the time. How do you handle either the reduction of nature or the realization that the patch of land you're on is not perhaps as green or as beautiful as you might want?
I would say to you there, and on the other, there be negative, but we need to grasp our higher power, to our higher power. That's the best answer I can give you. Anyone else? Anyone else?
I'm curious, Avery, if you personally have an element of nature that you personally feel very connected to, or can you talk about how you feel connected to the various elements of nature?
Yes, well, it's no secret, I'm of the pagan belief. It's no secret, I'm of the pagan belief and practicing pagan. And I resort to the natural world in the form of nature and people and, you know, human nature and what's all around us, obviously natural. Does that answer your question? Anyone else? Anyone else?
It doesn't work. I have a question online here from John Longfield. He would like to know, if I can scroll back up here. Can you tie the natural world in with the Course of Miracles?
Yes, very much. Everyone's not familiar with the Course in Miracles, so may not be able to follow it. But briefly, there is love or fear. Everything can be relegated to one or the other by the Course of Miracles. And so the natural world inclusive. We have positivity and negativity everywhere.
fish.
It's fear and love, but love, joy is included in love.
Do we have any final questions before we leave for coffee hour? We have one comment.
Yeah, not a question, just a comment here online. If I gotta stay up there. Yeah. I really loved what you and Alex did, making nature spiritual. Thank you for reminding me, even during COVID, when nature is most safe at this time, and a great peaceful presence.
You're welcome. Blessed be.
I'd also like to point out that in nature, what strikes me is how personal and at the same time universal it is when we experience it. It can be simultaneously those things. Is there anyone else who'd like to share their observations on nature? No? Okay. Oh, Bill?
The universe arcs towards justice, they say, but it doesn't mean that it couldn't use a severe helping hand in the here and now.
I think that's a very good way to wrap this up. All right, thank you very much, Avery. When you leave the sanctuary today through the rear exit, please stop by the door to select the gift from Avery from the natural world to take with you today.